Welcome back. Um, Today we're going to talk about, or in this episode, we're going to talk about the documentation tools or document tools. Things that like tape measure, dimension, text, protractor, tags, which is a really interesting topic that we haven't really covered yet. But we're going to cover these, and then we're going to move on tomorrow. The next episode will be about camera and perspective. Please look out for that one. I think that's one of the things that SketchUp does best of all the modeling software I know. I've used 3D Max, I've used Maya, I've used Rhino, I've used Revit, AutoCAD, of course. And of those, I find SketchUps to be the most comfortable as far as navigating around the model. So definitely look out for that one. But for today, we're going to talk about the documentation tools on this particular model. Now I just drew a simple geometry and try to make it somewhat interesting so that when we cut a section through it, you'll see what I mean. Let's start out with tags. Tags are, for all intents and purposes, layers, right? So if I wanted to create this plane as a component, right? And I'll call it front. It's called front for no other reason than I need something to tag different than the rest. So I'm going to hide this, and I'm going to select everything else except for my dude Joe. I'm going to get rid of Joe, and then select that as another component. I'll call that the back. And so I'm just trying to create an example to show you how you would go about tagging specific elements and their visualization. Now, I hid things, so I have to show the hidden objects, right click and unhide it. I'm sure there's a faster way of doing that, but for right now, let's just bear with me. So the tags, like I said, are analogous to layers, and so I'm going to create a couple. I'm going to call it front, and then do another one, back. These make a lot of sense when we talk about scenes, and I'll explain that later. But layers, I mean, I shouldn't have to explain layers. If you've done any 3D modeling in your career, you know that layers are dead helpful. So here's how they work. So this object, which is the component, right now, if you click on Entity, Info, it'll tell you that, there's how many instances, what it's called, what the material is, and it's untagged. I'm going to change that to front, okay? Similarly, I'm going to select the back object. Select the back object and change that to back as it sounds. And now that the entity info has been defined, I'm going to close that panel and I'm going to toggle the on and off for the eyes for the front and the back. So first the back, boop, because that's on the layer called back. Everything that was associated with that tag is hidden. Similarly, everything associated with the front tag is now hidden. So very, very helpful. Tags are very useful. All right, coming back all the way to the top, sometimes I want to know what a quick dimension is. So I click once, I click twice, and I know that that is 7 feet 7 1/8. You'll note that by looking in the bottom right-hand corner under length. Similarly, you can do this any dimension, any direction, and it's very, very helpful, especially when it's not a plane that you normally understand. Okay, now the next piece, if you want that dimension to stick, do the same process. Click once, click twice, and you can drag out horizontally to the object or vertically. I personally like vertically. Now the other way of doing this actually is selecting the line itself. And you're like, well, wait a minute, you can't select the line itself. Actually, you can. If I go into the object, now dimension, using just the line, and there we go, right? So that's how that works. Now, you may want to do the dimensioning in either the component or in the model. That's up to you. It doesn't really matter, but it is very, very useful. So, and it's also faster when you just select the element, in this case, the line. So I'm going to select this line, select that guy, select this one, and this one will be kind of weird vertical. but I do want it to be a line. So I want the total length, that's why it's going to come off this way. And then this one will come down vertical the way the others have, and so on and so forth, right? So dimensions, very, very helpful. Next, we're going to do text. And so we're going to get out of that component edit. And I want to tell someone that even though this looks white, in reality, it is in fact, I want it to be wood, right? So I'm going to select the this text tool, and it asks me, where do you want to put it? On the face, on the edge, on the corner? I'm just going to put it in the face, come away from it, and notice that the first thing it says is, oh, that's the front. That's the component you named front. Yes, but I'm gonna give a materiality comment and say use wood tone. Now the other thing that's really interesting, if you open the component and then do that same tag, instead of labeling the component, instead it's going to give you the square footage or the surface area of that plane, which is really helpful. You can also find that again under entity info. So if you were to go to, let's see, I always lose that button. If you click on that and then click that once, sorry, not once, click that, it should tell you right at the top 84.29. And that's true whether you've tagged it or not. So I want to know what that surface is, 179.4. So very, very, very helpful, although that's not quite a documentation tool. The section we're going to come back to, the protractor, is also very helpful when you want to know a specific angle, right? So I'm going to click this guy, and I'm going to choose the vertices to be that point. I want to know what this angle is relative to this one. So I click my start point, I come all the way over, and I now know that that is a 100, well, where'd it go? I got to do it again, sorry. Click, click. 151.8 degrees away from the original baseline. So very, very helpful. Okay, the last thing I'll show you before we move on to sections is this locked plane. And essentially what this is or unlocked plane, essentially what it means is we can change the axes. So if I really wanted vertical to the blue line, which is the vertical, typically the Z, if I wanted that, I can click this point and move this direction, that direction, this direction, and whatnot, and change the location of the blue. It also changes the 0 point from wherever it was, I think back here, to right here. So that's the 0, 0, 0 point. So very, very helpful. All right, lastly is my favorite tool. I'm going to close these so we have a bigger picture window, is the section tool. So click this documentation, hit section plane, and now you can create floor plans using a horizontal plane or true sections using the vertical plane. So we're going to click that, and notice that I can move this guy. The orange bit is the section plane. Notice how it's cutting the section as we go. Isn't that awesome? Right? Well, what if I didn't want that particular one? That's also why I made this geometry, by the way. What if I didn't want that one? What if I wanted a different one? Well, I can come back here and hit section again. Or if I use the search up here and just start typing, it'll give me options for tools. And notice that there's a key shortcut, section plane S. We'll do that one again. This time we'll choose the front and a much, much more interesting section. Well, maybe not much more, but certainly interesting, right? So section tool, very, very helpful. To understanding vertical space and arrangements. So hopefully, hopefully you agree. If you learned anything today from this episode or the others, I would appreciate a like and a share. Also, if you are interested at all, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so that the next time I post a video, you'll be alerted to that. Along with the announcement bell. Have a great day.